Greetings. We're at the halfway point in the season, that is, the art of adjustment. This season, we're focusing on the ways art in any form aids in the adjustment process. Then I'm challenging myself to follow these episodes with some of my own experiences, observations, or ideas that stem from the conversation with the guest. My name is Thomas Reed. Welcome to Read My Mind Radio. Read my mind. Read my mind. My guest today, Kiana Glanton, has many titles. We'll get into them all as they are each closely related to today's conversation. First, though, a little bit more about Kiana.
I'm a medium brown-skinned Black woman of Cuban and African descent, and I go by she, her, and ella. I speak Spanish. I have blonde and brown dreadlocks that are curled up. I would define myself as low vision because when you start to explain to people not within our community about the different degrees of visual impairment, they think it's either blind or not. Blindness hit me at about age 16. For me, it wasn't a drastic vision loss. It was over time. The profound loss has happened over the last 5 years, in which I've become a cane user. It's only been over the last 2 or 3 years that I've really stepped into a role of advocacy and empowerment now that I have accepted this and I'm ready to be of use to my community.
I had a chance to see Kiana serving her community in her role at an event last summer at the Lighthouse Guild in New York.
I am the development intern. I like to call myself the chief development intern just because I often work with the CEO and the chief development officer and all the people in the C-suite. Sometimes you got to speak it into existence. And so I don't walk in rooms without a title, without feeling that I absolutely earned my spot here and that I deserve to be here.
It was obvious to me that although her title includes intern, she's not a intern.
I did go to grad school and I did go to undergrad. I graduated from Stony Brook University. So I do have education and I have a work history that I'm proud of. However, when I really started losing my sight, I had to learn how to be back in the office again. And it's not just learning how to use JAWS, Word, Outlook and stuff, but really learning how to interact with people and get things done and be part of a team that is, for the most part, fully sighted. I began to intern just to get the work experience. Whatever job I want, whatever job I get, I'm going to do well in. I'm pretty confident and comfortable interacting with people, but I wasn't quite sure if I had the logistical skills together.
It takes real confidence to recognize what you're lacking and humble yourself to go get it. Through the Commission for the Blind in New York, she was able to secure a 13-week internship at the Lighthouse Guild. Unfamiliar with fundraising, she ended up knocking it out the park.
And so when my 13 weeks was over, my boss was really impressed and he found a private donor and a foundation to support my internship while we figured the next steps out. I got a promotion within that and I got extended time while we figure out if there's space here at my current job at the Lighthouse, which I love. There are lots of companies that I could do really well at. I just feel really connected to the mission. It's personal for me to work for a company that supports blind and low vision people. I don't look at us as a project or a group of people. This is my home. This is my own community.
That's the type of attitude that, quite honestly, in my experience, was and may still be lacking in many organizations serving the blind.
At the time, there was only one visually impaired person in the management floor, the executive suite of Lighthouse Guild, and over time, they've acquired 3 more, and I'm one of those 3. We have a marketing manager, development manager, our volunteer service coordinator, who are all visually impaired, and that's affecting programming and policy and really having a voice in this company.
Lighthouse, take off that intern and make this woman permanent management. All right, let's go. She's committed to her work, but her foundation is her grounding.
We're just coming off the Kwanzaa season, which my family has been celebrating since I was 6 years old. By the time this comes out, I'll be 41. We believe in the Kwanzaa principles, all 7 of them, all year round. Nia is purpose. I literally get up every morning and say, thank you, God, and thank you for my child. Thank you for giving me a reason to stand up taller and to be more confident because she's watching me. So I have to give her the best version of me. She needs to know that diligence is always rewarded. I do this for her. Even when she's at her dad's for the weekend, I'm still on the clock. I'm still thinking about meals that I need to prepare. I'm thinking about getting home safely because she's dependent on me returning home. Like, what if something happened to me and I was irresponsible and then there was no mommy for her to come home to? Then I let her down. And that's not living out of fear. It's just guiding the principles that I govern myself with and how I move around.
You could tell a child something till you're blue in the face. Your actions, however, speak much louder than words.
She needs to know you can restart your life if you need to. You can pivot. There are things that I once said and did in my 20s or in my 30s that I absolutely do not believe anymore. I thought that people who eat meat are just ignorant and selfish and greedy, and I don't think that way anymore. Or I once thought that only Black people make good potato salad, and I don't think that anymore.
Wait, what? Wait, hold up. This is news to me. Okay, I get the point. And in general, I agree. I'm just saying, I know people who are pretty serious about their potato salad.
I am showing her that it is possible to be taught and repositioned at any point in your life. And then if you want something and you set a goal and measurable steps that you can get there, you can have it. I explain to her all the time why I'm disciplined in this way. I don't subscribe to the school of thought that children are to be seen, not heard. Now, I don't allow no talking back. But if you have a point or something you need to tell me, it's worth me stopping to listen to you. Now, if it's an emergency and I've given you every indication that, like, you need to just listen and follow me, you need to do that. I've given her code words because I think sometimes children are put in positions that aren't always safe or comfortable for them. If there's something that I'm missing, say the code word and I'm stopping everything so that I can speak to you. That's important to me.
My babies are grown now, but I can tell you that's some great advice. Children need to know they can come talk to their parents and they will be heard. Living a life of purpose for Kiana starts with being intentional about raising her daughter, Callie. Hi, Callie. It includes her presentation of herself in the world.
I'm someone that's really into their aesthetic, and not from a vanity standpoint, but in a professional and put together kind of lens. There's a misconception that blind people look a mess because we can't see ourselves. We're not aware of a stain or a button or stripes and plaid and polka dots all put together. I want my daughter to know, make sure your clothes are straight. You organize over the weekend so you have your outfits already ready and lined up. You go accordingly and you carry yourself with pride.
That's pride in her full self.
I'm a woman. I'm a Black woman. I'm a mom. I'm Kiana. I love my family, my community. Oh, yeah, I'm blind.
That pride and sense of self is evident in the way she maneuvers through all sorts of spaces.
When I choose to come in here as an intern with education and more experience than people that are around me, I do so with pride. I do so with confidence. I do not have shame about it because I've worked hard to be here, and I'm opening doors and making opportunity for the other visually impaired people who are coming behind me. I'm sharing my experience and hoping to provide resources, avenues, and opportunities for empowerment within my community, particularly for women of color.
Empowering the community by sharing what worked for her.
5 years ago, I came into contact with the most impactful person to me in my blind journey, a really close friend, and he's an athlete and really disciplined, really strong and powerful and smart. And he told me I needed to find something. And he knew I liked bodybuilding and I liked lifting, but I was just kind of doing it solo just because I liked it. I didn't really have any friends to do it with me or at the level in which I was doing it at. He's playing goal ball and running and cycling and playing these different sports, and none of them connected to me. So he brought me a baseball one day, and it was a standard baseball, and it had 2 little jingle bells in it. He said, "This is blind baseball."
He suggested Kiana speak with a colleague of hers at the Lighthouse who was already involved in the game.
I was like, no way. You want me to be around a bunch of blind people with all of us with canes? You know what we're going to look like? People are going to laugh at us and point at us and stare at us. I don't want to hang out with the blind kids. I'm too cool. I'm too pretty. I'm too vain. I don't want to do it. Mind you, I am blind. I have a cane. I'm talking about myself, but that was my truth. I was still embarrassed, but I am highly competitive. I hope you and I never play Uno or anything because I get busy and I get, I'm flipping tables angry. Like,
Okay. I relate. She had a change of heart.
So I get out there to Central Park to practice, and I have on workout clothes, and I like my physique, and I'm feeling great. And there's another woman there, and she has on hot pink sneakers and a Yankees jersey. I thought she was so cute. Oh, so cute. And I was so mad at myself. I said, I should have dressed cuter because look at her over there with the pink sneakers. I wasn't jealous, but I was just like, look at her being cute. We started a running exercise where we had to run blindfolded from home to first base. I ran like Frankenstein. 3 steps and my hands out. I was scared I was going to run into a pole. It is horrifying the first time you do this. It took me about 15 to 20 seconds. And then I watched the girl run and she did a little bit better than me. And I said, oh no, oh no, I will not lose to anybody out here. So next thing you know, I'm running and I got down to 9 seconds. And the coach comes up to me and he says, do you run? Do you work out? I said, do I? I work out 5 days a week, every morning. Of course I work out.
She quickly learned how to hit and became comfortable running the bases fast and free. With her competitive nature kicking in, the coach now sees Kiana as a secret weapon. By the time the next practice comes around, she ready.
The liaison from Italy happens to be visiting, and he said, I think you can make the national team. And that's only my second or third practice. And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, if we get funding for you to go, would you want to try out? I started in late May. By July 15th, I was getting a phone call saying I made the national team, and I was headed to the Netherlands to represent the United States, the only Black woman on the team, one of 2 women to make the team. And that's all she wrote.
Nah, that was just the beginning. The team traveled to the Netherlands. Kiana scores the first point of the tournament, and the team ultimately brings home the bronze. This was her first experience with team sports and organized athletics. It changed her life.
I had something to fight for. I had a group. I had people who accepted me. And if we're all blind, then blindness doesn't even matter, right? That's the common denominator. So now it's who's faster, who is stronger, who's more powerful, who's louder, who's going to captain us, who's a follower, who's a leader. Every good thing about me was kind of amplified and elevated. How much of a leader I am, how outspoken I am, how supportive, how loyal I am, and how much I care about sharing this experience. I brought my camera and my tripod, and I went live when we were in the Netherlands. I wanted my baby to see her mom at 39 change her life. I left a home, a business, a longtime partner. I left a bunch of things to save myself, to rescue myself. And this was my biggest rescue at that point, deciding to do something I had never done before. And I killed it. I decided this is going to be my thing. I'm going to grow this sport.
How will she do that, you ask?
I made myself the poster child for the sport in this country because I want to see it grow.
Not just for the sake of growing the sport. First and foremost, it's the example she's setting for her daughter. It's also a chance to challenge and confront perceived limitations.
I take issue with the rates of obesity and heart disease and diabetes within the Black community, but particularly with Black women. I think sometimes socially we put things in our way, whether it's hair, whether it's access to resources, whether it's time, whether it's motherhood. I mean, a bunch of things become excuses for why we are not more active and healthy. So what? We're visually impaired. You still could come out. I don't want to see my community dying off at 40 and 50 years old and not making it to our 60s, 70s, 80s, and even to 3 figures. Like, why is that not on the table for us?
Can you tell Kiana's pretty serious about blind baseball?
I became a beast about this sport. I am the secretary of the USBBA, the U.S. Blind Baseball Association, which was created to grow the sport. And there are other teams and groups that are doing blind baseball, and I love those guys. Shout out to the Lions. But what I'm growing is based off of an idea where everyone is equal. Transparency financially is important, and all are welcomed, whether you're 80 years old and you just want to come out here and walk the bases, or you're a fresh 19-year-old who's jetting around the bases, and anything in between. This sport is for you. If you want to compete, I'll help you get stronger. We'll have practices based off your level. I want everyone to come out. I want sighted people to come out and volunteer. I want you to bring your kids and have them volunteer. I want this to be something that we are proud of and that we take seriously.
If you're in the NYC area, Kiana's waiting for you.
Hashtag better than bronze. We created our newest team, the Lighthouse Guild Lightning, which I'm the co-captain. And we're only going to grow. This is not about me in the forefront. It's about the sport. It's about how it made me feel. It gave me another purpose, another thing to fight for. And then my daughter likes to come volunteer. So whenever she's here on the weekends, she comes out and collects balls and helps be a sighted guide to our participants. And she cheers her mommy on. And she knows I get busy on that field.
Getting busy on the field is one way to have fun while flexing those competitive muscles, but it's also about community.
I have always been someone really culturally connected and aware and really proud of my race and gender and culture and nationality. That has been a huge hallmark of who I am, and that didn't change with visual impairment. In fact, it became more important. Blackness or Caribbeanness or Latinness or any of these identifiers become more personal when you lose your sight. We begin to feel a sense of loneliness when you lose your sight and you had it, because you can't just make eye contact across the airport when you see the only other Black person going to Europe, or when you're in these spaces and we see each other and we do the head nod. How do you do that when you're visually impaired? I'm really looking to connect and make more friends in general, but particularly with people of color, because I feel so marginalized and so underrepresented in some of these blind spaces that I'm in. I want to know where my people are. I found them.
While at an event spreading the word about blind baseball, Kiana met Eyes Like Mine co-founder and Read My Mind radio family member and alumni, Crystal Allen. For the record, I had no idea when planning this season. Learning more about the organization and the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment pageant, Kiana decided to enter.
I am very competitive. I don't go into anything not thinking I'm going to win. I don't know if this is for the faint of heart, but if I'm getting in this, your girl's a beast. I'm going to win. I believe in manifestation, but I also believe in working hard and having good morals and ethics and having a good product and being a representative of my community. I'm going to use this space appropriately because I may not have it tomorrow, but on this day, I'm going to show up. And I happened to connect with women who also wanted to make moves in the community. That began to make me feel even more powerful because I had other women beside me with their canes out, taking steps bravely forward to tell our stories from our voice, from our perspective, without someone else watering down or patronizing our experience.
The pageant has two segments, Miss Blind Diva Empowerment and the Miss Independent YouTube Challenge. For the latter, contestants submit a video on YouTube that displays their independence. That can mean so many things for each person. The winners are determined based on the number of likes received over a 3-week period. And then, just 1 hour before the end of the period,
I was outside, fully glammed in a gown, makeup, and everything in Newark at a bus stop. I was down by about 75 votes. I stood on that corner and got every person that passed to vote for me. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm good on any block. The only 3 people that didn't vote for me didn't have the capacity because they had like flip phones. A city bus driver in Newark stopped and got off the bus, which he shouldn't have, and voted for me, and then had people on the bus come off and scan my QR code.
Wait, you had a QR code too?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because I had to make it easy and convenient for the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You out there at the bus stop, English and Spanish.
Let me tell you something.
Venga aquí, ¿qué? Mira, venga aquí.
I was out there. Pónchame, por favor. I was out there.
Next thing you know, Kiana's crowned both Miss Blind Diva Empowerment and Miss Independent YouTube Challenge winner.
Those 2 titles are typically handed to 2 people. But because I said I'm a beast, I won both of them for the first time in history. What was nice about this is it was a competition, but really there was such a collaborative spirit about all of us just wanting to do well. And that's okay to be competitive for things that make sense, as long as it's not over men and from nasty jealousy spaces, but really about excellence. That's good when we're pushing each other to work hard. Sports, my baby, and then this female empowerment within the blind community, it changed my life. It strengthened me and toughened me in a really profound way.
Adding to that list, prior to the pageant, Kiana found an art form that really resonated with her.
I have always liked drummers. I think female drummers are so attractive and powerful. Sheila E., if you've ever looked at the arm muscles of a drummer, it's impressive. And then to be a woman out there getting busy, I found out that the captain of Team USA, Alex Barella, is a drum instructor. And so I said, can you teach me? He said, yeah, I have weekly classes over at Visions, which is an organization, one of the top 3 in New York City that support the blind and low vision community. And so he invited me to come out. Now I know I have rhythm. I know I can dance. I just need someone to teach me how to do this properly, because anyone could just go bang on a drum. I want to get busy.
We're talking about congas, to be specific.
These drums and patterns and this beat comes all the way from Africa, all the way through the Middle Passage, all through the Chattel South, all through the world. When I thought about the pageant, I was thinking, somebody's going to sing, somebody's going to dance, somebody's going to do poetry. But how dope would it be to explain that drums and music are not a visual experience? This can be felt by people from the deaf community through vibrations. You feel this spiritually and emotionally. I played and had that crowd rocking with me. And I just remember thinking, like, I feel connected to this.
Think about that. That drum was once a tree with energy. The act of hitting a drum in different locations, creating specific sounds and tones, involves even more energy. All of that emanates through sound and vibration out to the world to be shared with those nearby. It's a connection. It's spiritual.
I'm willing to put my time in. And it also helps with dexterity. It also helps with autoimmune disease that I have, which is sarcoid, and affects my hands and my knuckles. And so being able to engage my hands and strengthen them that way just makes me healthier emotionally and physically as well. You have to have good posture when you're sitting at the drum for long periods of time. So it is challenging me and helping elevate me from a physical standpoint.
Drumming can be communal.
I just love that there are so many blind people in this class and low vision people who want to express themselves in a way that perhaps they didn't think was possible.
When it comes to the art of adjustment, people are the thread that connects it all together.
From the introduction of my friend, that really prominent athlete, to my community at Lighthouse, to the women of OVH and Eyes Like Mine, they have made me want to fight harder. They've been the fuel, the people around me, especially the people who are more seasoned than me, because I aspire to be confident and have longevity in our community as an advocate, just like they are and they were to me. I believe that God positions people to help you. He sends people in your way that are going to influence and impact you. And that's what the blind community has been. I've learned to kind of identify the areas that are important to me. We've talked about art. We've talked about athletics. We've talked about empowerment. My baby being a prominent part of my life is really important, that I have balance and that I'm able to effectively participate in these areas, regardless of whether you're through Helen Keller or Visions or Lighthouse, whether you are in this pageant or playing this sport, or you're just home, or your goal is simply to be able to move around your house independently. I would like to be a person that advocates for you.
Kiana obviously has a personal connection to blindness, which can explain that desire to be an advocate for others. But it goes further. She's looking to provide relief to others in general through an organization she founded with some friends.
The Rescue Experience is a support group that my two friends and I created 5 years ago. And at the time, I was leaving a toxic and unfortunately a violent relationship. I just remember thinking, how am I going to figure this out? What am I going to do with being blind and single and just depressed and all these things? And my friend, Lexi B, told me, she said, you have to rescue yourself. And then you have to tell people that this happened. Part of your healing and part of your journey is going to be you expressing that you went through this and that you're losing your sight and that you're figuring these things out. Your healing is going to come from you sharing.
After rescuing herself, she was able to begin doing the same for others.
Donating money to a woman who needs to buy coats for her children, or getting her hair done, or sending someone we know who's overworked and tired to a hotel for the night with dinner and a spa the next day. People who just needed a little bit of help, who was doing the work, but just could use a little bit of support.
They formed an LLC in order to begin sharing even more.
I'm ready to help people on a grander scale. And so we're growing daily. And so that's the Rescue Experience.
I like specifically how the things that you're doing to rescue, the things that you're providing, they're not huge, right? It's not $1 million thing, like a night at a hotel. Like it's accessible. You know what I'm saying? It's just that like that little time out. But I can imagine how much that means to that individual receiving that. Kiana has a job at the Lighthouse. Blind baseball, Miss Blind Empowerment. She's playing the congas. And in between all of that, helping to rescue others, that's a lot. I just had to come out and ask her. So how you chill, girl?
I am deeply rooted and connected in my family. And so I love music. There's always music playing in my house. I love to dance. I love some good seasoned food. I love to entertain. I have a lot of game nights at my house, and we play different social games and drinking games and just an opportunity to connect. I listen to Audible. Love to hear your voice when you pop up on these different audio descriptions and stuff. I make time to sleep in some days and to take naps and to really thank God for all the opportunity. There was a time that I felt stagnant. So I do a lot of work, but I remember praying for something to believe in, something to get into. And now it's here. You can't complain when you pray and your prayers get answered. Right now is busy season. So I just pray for strength and endurance, like physical. I get in the gym and I lift, mental and emotional to deal with all that comes my way. Working from home and being stagnant for some years. And so I got to catch up. There's work to be done.
Kiana has some serious energy. I'm talking about both the vibe she puts out into the world and that high energy level, as in, come on, let's go do this. If you want to stay up to date with what she's up to.
On Instagram, please follow me at pretty_blind_baseballer. That is pretty_blind_baseballer. Don't laugh at me, Thomas. Facebook is Kiana V. Glanton. That is K-I-A-N as in Nancy A, the letter V for Victor or Victory. And my last name, Glanton, G-L-A-N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, O as in Oscar, N as in Nancy.
You can also catch her live on her Miss Blind Diva 2023 fan page every Monday. If Instagram is more your thing, she's live there as well, talking about various issues in the blind community as well as the rescue experience and more.
I'm raising money for the TD5 World Bike Tour. I'm going to do a 40-mile charity ride. I'm asking people who are participating to donate to that campaign so that I can raise funds and awareness for adaptive athletics, which changed my life. I have not been on a tandem bike before my adulthood, and I'm about to do 40 miles in 5 boroughs with 38,000 people. So I got some work to do. That journey is going to be online as well through the Lighthouse Guild on our social media pages, but particularly on my personal pages.
Well, Kiana, when folks come on the podcast and they share their story, they share their experiences, I like to welcome them and appreciate them, let you know that you are now an official part of the Read My Mind radio family. I appreciate you.
It's been a privilege to be with you today. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you for the work you do in our community. Your voice is so powerful and meaningful. So I'm glad to be amongst good people and good company. So thank you to you and your listeners.
My conversation with Kiana actually began with her sharing her love for Caribbean Carnival. It wasn't included here because it was a bit of a tangent, but on further examination, it inspired deeper thought and generated some ideas. Join me next time when I'll talk about some of this and more in my continuous self-portrait. Have you told someone lately that you rock with Read My Mind Radio and they should too? Whew. Family, I don't ask much from y'all because I have my own issues around asking for things. But here's the deal. I'm not asking you for me. I'm asking you for those who I truly believe will benefit from what's being shared on this podcast. People like Kiana, Crystal, Andrew, they need to be all up in the ear holes of those adjusting to blindness or any disability. Okay, maybe that's not a great way to put it, but you know what I mean. I think we can make a difference in people's lives, so the more we tell folks about what's going on over here, the more likely that person new to disability, whatever it is, will find some helpful ideas, concepts, and encouragement. Just tell them Read My Mind Radio is available wherever you get podcasts. Let them know we have transcripts and more at readmymind.com. The only way to find the website, this podcast, or even me is by spelling it right. That's R to the E. I.
D, and that's me in a place to be.
Like my last name. Peace.